evening. I'm here with an Infernity tutorial. So a little disclaimers first. This guide is not designed for people who've been playing Infernity. This is straight up like brand new sort of, hey, I've just started playing Infernity, like I want to learn essentially like the combos and stuff, and you know how to make it work. So I'm gonna break this down with a couple of explanations of the monsters, what you need, and how each one works. So pretty much the deck is one of the strongest at the moment, arguably the strongest at the current moment in time, despite dragons, but that's only because of cards like Soul Charge, which, you know, Soul Charge for 1 and you can go plus like 4. The deck is extremely powerful, despite barrier being at 1. 1 Solemn Judgment is really all you need if you're playing smart. Well, anyway, so won't bother talking for too long. Just go straight to it. So this is the main card of the deck, Infernity Archfiend. He's your searcher, and he is essentially what makes the deck go. When he is special summoned and you have no cards in your hand, you search an Infernity card. So you search your Infernity Break, your Infernity Barrier, and your monsters. Always play him at 3, never ever go less than 2. There is absolutely no way that you should go less than 3. I mean, like, if you really want to play 2, like, it's probably doable, but doable doesn't mean it's going to be good. So 3 Archfiend is what I would call ideal. Next, Necromancer. So this guy is your wall, 2000 defense. He special summons from grave. The way you're usually going to make this work is by getting him on the field, setting up your grave with an Archfiend, special summoning Archfiend out of the grave, and then you search for whatever you need at the time and you go off. So I'm showing 2 instead of 3, right? I personally play 3, but I'm showing 2 at the moment because you need, like, I'm just showing you the basics of what you absolutely need in order to make the deck work. So you absolutely need 2. You can go 3. I personally play 3, but you know, 2 works. It has been proven to work. The UK Nationals recently has had Tom Paine as the finalist, and he ran 2 Necromancers, so 2 is definitely doable. I can understand the theory behind that. I personally just wouldn't, because sometimes you just really need the 3rd. But you know, if you want to play 2, if you feel it's been clogging, which it can, opening hands, drawing 2 of these happens often. So you know, getting this guy down to 2 is something you might want to consider. Another absolute necessity is Stygian Street Patrol. So basically this is kind of like the engine of the deck. This makes your Archfiend what it is. You banish this from your graveyard and you special summon a fiend from your from your hand. So Stygian Street Patrol is usually dumped into the graveyard with Levavel Chain. Levavel Chain is also another key card which we'll go into later, but Stygian Street Patrol is essentially the engine of the deck. He is banished from the graveyard and he special summons a fiend from your hand, either Necromancer or the Archfiend. So you would play at least 3. You can play him at 3. No, sorry, you need at least 2. You would play him at 3. You can. I wouldn't recommend it, but some people enjoy 3. But that means you need to run a couple of other monsters I'll get into in a second. But I feel 2 is good for consistency because opening him is generally bad if you don't have a discard outlet. Opening 2 means you're going to have to like wait at least like a turn before you can go off, which is not what you want with this deck. This deck is extremely fast. You want to combo as hard and as fast as you can, and overwhelm your opponent before they have a chance to like set up. And other 2 monsters I would consider necessary is Summoner Monk. So you summon this guy, he discards a spell, and you special summon a level 4. 9 times out of 10 you're going to special summon Dark Grepher, or one of your warriors, but you will occasionally special summon your Archfiend when you have no cards in your hand. That way you can search out more Infernity monsters and go off. So for the last 2 main monsters of the deck, I would recommend that you play at least one of each. Some people like 2 Grepher, 0 Armageddon Knight. Some people like 2 Grepher and a 3rd Stygian or something like that. I don't know. Personally, I prefer one of each. I think one of each is a good ratio. Sometimes your hand is clogged up and you want to discard. Other times your hand is empty and all you want to do is send. So Armageddon Knight will send something from your deck to graveyard. Usually a Stygian Street Patrol, sometimes an Archfiend, even sometimes a Necromancer if you've got Launcher or whatever. I'll get into the details of the combos later, but right now I'm just showing you the monsters and what they do. Last one is Archfiend Heiress. This is not necessary. You don't need this to work. She's good. She searches Archfiend, and she searches the field spell Labyrinth. For the combos I'm doing in this video, you will see her being used. I'm going to cut her, but I'm just using the basic deck that I took to Nationals, just because I'm too lazy to change it right now. But she's really good when you use her effect. Unfortunately, the reason I'm cutting her is because I'm drawing her too often. She's really awful in the hand. You don't want this in your hand. So she's okay at 1. Well, I mean, you would never play more than 1 anyway, but if you find that you're clogging too much with monsters, this could be a good option to take out. 13 monsters. I'm going to be cutting down to 12. So 13 is a good number. You will find yourself in bad situations sometimes. Anyway, so for the other absolute necessities to make the deck work, I would play triple MST just because you want to get your combos off. This isn't necessary. I believe, in my personal opinion, that this is a good card to have in Infernity, but a lot of the times your hand is going to be just at the perfect ratio of monsters to spells. So using Upstart is almost always dead. The way I see it, this is just to help you like collect combo pieces if you're like running on too many monsters and too few monsters in your hand. Honestly, literally half the time you're going to find yourself setting this, because the way Infernity works is you have no cards in your hand. You need to keep your hand empty. So drawing cards is only good if you can actually afford to draw another card. Plus Upstart is great to side out. I would play 3, sorry. But that's just me. Next, Instant Fusion. I'm personally going to be bumping this up to 3. This is really great because you play so few monsters that sometimes like this acts as a second monster. This acts as like 2 more monsters in your deck. Sometimes you just really need to like go and make an Exe play instantly. So a really cool combo is usually like Exiton first turn, and then still being able to go off because like you've summoned, I don't know, like a Stygian and you've got like an Archfiend in hand. This just helps you with your Exes. So when I'm cutting down to 12 monsters, I will plan to bump that up to 3, especially with the new fusion monster that's coming out. I can't remember the name of, but you know, he's really good. So excuse me. Next, what I would consider necessary and why the deck has become so good just in the space of like so little time. This is what I took to Nationals. I took 2 soul charges. I'm going to play 3. 3 soul charge is like definitely necessary. Soul charge and an Armageddon Knight leaves you on like a stupid field, which I'll show you later on. So soul charge is really like unbelievable. You need to play like 3. Some people like 2, but I mean at the very least you will run this card. It's too good. So another card I'm going to cut is Transmodify. Transmodify is really good. It's a win more card though, that's the problem. This card helps you like go make a good hand into an absolutely broken hand, like a stupidly like, unbeatable hand. However, it's such an awful top deck. It is really bad outside of opening it, and a lot of the time you might find this setting and playing it as a 2 of, sometimes it will clog. This is better off as maybe something like a Book of Moon. That's what I plan to change. I plan to change this for the 3rd soul charge in the Book of Moon. So don't get me wrong, some people love Transmodify, so we will play at 1 also, which is fine, but I don't feel it's good enough to top deck, therefore I'm going to switch out for a Book of Moon, at least. Your staple 1-ofs in Infernity, Rota is good. You search out your Armageddon Knight or Dark Grepher. It's a monk target as well. You Foolish Burial, set up your grave. Infernity Launcher, absolutely broken. and your field spell, which isn't going to be in my deck anymore. But the way this card works is, so how this thing works is essentially, if I can get it to focus a little bit, right, so you can see the text here. It's kind of like Transmodify. So let's say, for example, you have Infernity Archfiend and Necromancer on the field. Now, what you do is you target the Infernity Archfiend, banish one other fiend, and then you get a monster on the field who's equal to the level and type or something. Same level. Yeah, same level as the targeted monster. So what this essentially, it's essentially a Transmodify. You're going to banish your Necromancer and special summon an Archfiend out with this card. It is so good. It makes, again, this is the kind of card that's I consider win more. It makes a good hand into a broken hand. Also, your fiends get 500 attack, and it makes your Archfiends absolutely huge. But you know, if you're not playing the Heiress, then Palabrant is sort of unnecessary. But yeah, so that's everything for the spells. You want your deck to be mostly spells because you need like Summoner Monk targets. So I don't play too many traps. I run the triple break, absolutely necessary. You need to play 3 Infernity break. This is essentially why this deck is so good. Apart from being able to spit out like a stupid amount of field presence, it's got really good defense. So if you've got no cards in your hand, you can banish an Infernity card from your graveyard. So that doesn't mean a monster. You can banish a card. So like you could banish another break or your barrier, and you can destroy a card in the field. So it's pretty much like your Ricky break. I play 2 traps done. These aren't like, it's come to the point where my like you can like fiddle about, change this as you want. I feel traps done is needed just because like your gaze a thing and you want to go off. So traps done is 2. I plan to bump up to 3 by dropping the Heiress and the Palabrant. This was my MVP at the Nationals, but I'm just showing you my basic deck now, so everything else isn't like, these aren't really necessary. If you don't want to run Vanities, that's fine, but this deck can make Key Beetle very easily, and Key Beetle Vanities is GG for most decks. So now you might think that, okay, so this deck special summons more than anything. You can special summon, I think the maximum special summons you can do with this deck is literally like 22 times per turn. So you can essentially special summon out half your deck. So you're probably wondering, like, why would you play this as such a double-edged sword? Well, you can play around it, and more often than not, it's going to hurt your opponent more than it hurts you. And it's very easy to switch off. So all you need to do is MST something, you need to break something, and it's gone for you to go off. However, it's strongest when it's paired with Key Beetle. So Key Beetle will protect this from being destroyed, and essentially you've got a perfect Vanity's Emptiness lock. One of the best combos this deck can do that I feel is you have your Vanity's Lock on your Key Beetle, you trap stun, you go off yourself, set up your field, search your breaks, and your opponent's left there on their turn, still locked underneath Vanities, but you trap stunned, meaning that you could search. The 1 barrier, so the ban list brought this down to 1. It's your Solemn Judgment. This is why this deck is, again, probably as good as it is currently, because of like cards like this. Being able to search out a Solemn Judgment is, you know, just too good. Spell speed 3, very hard to counter. Yeah, so it's too good. And I play like these staples. Solemn Warning is not as great. I might consider cutting this because you pay so much life points, and honestly it's not too fantastic. I'd maybe prefer this with maybe a black corn or something. It's good, don't get me wrong, but like a lot of people have been starting to drop it in recent years. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a very basic combo. I'll just search out the cards. So one of the most basic combos is, let's see, these 3. Now, when you're playing Infernity, you need to understand, you never just say to yourself, oh, okay, right now I'm going to do combo number 17, or combo number 14. Like, that's not how the deck works. You kind of just, like, have what you have in your hand, and you just go with what's available to you. So, I'll just show you, like, the basics. Oh, I didn't go over the extra deck actually, but should probably do that first. So this is why this deck is good. This is why this deck became a thing actually, because of Levavel Chain. Levavel Chain, rank 4, very easy to make. You send one card from your deck to the graveyard. So 9 times out of 10, you'll be sending this guy. Your Stygian will banish itself from his graveyard, special summon a fiend from your hand. So this guy usually sends this to the grave, and then you special summon something out of your hand. More often than not, it's an Archfiend or Necromancer. You would play at least 2. I think 2 is a good number. I think 3 is overkill. A couple of other necessities is Levier. This will special summon back your Stygians, maybe even like your Archfiend as well if you've like lost it. Another absolute necessity is Direwolf. Direwolf is it's very easy to summon your monsters back out of your grave, and you can make this very easily. Just pop back row, pop problem monsters, pop, and go off. So Direwolf is really needed. Onarch, just general staples. So like these things aren't. Oh, this is my Fire Fist. Crap. So stuff like this isn't necessary, like to make the deck work. I mean, it's necessary to like be good, like obviously, but like as for actual combos, like you don't need these cards. None of these cards can contribute to your combos. So especially Fire Fist Horse, that doesn't do anything for your combos. So anyway, so we've got a 3-card combo here, right? After this, I'm gonna shuffle up the deck, just do completely random test hands, like just to show you like how this can work. So let's see, you've got your Dark Grepher. You summon him, you discard your Stygian to the graveyard, and he sends 1 card from your deck to the graveyard. You would send your Heiress, and your Heiress would search your Palabyrinth. The field spell. So then you activate the field spell. So now you banish your Stygian from the graveyard, and you special summon Archfiend from your hand. When Archfiend is special summoned and you have no cards in your hand, search an Infernity card. So this is where a lot of people would go like search Break or Barrier, and like they would search like Barrier and pass. Okay, but you can do so much more from this point. So here I would search out the Necromancer. Just put it this way, if you're searching with Archfiend, like 9 times out of 10, just search the Necromancer and you'll start to see the combos. So this is in your hand. This is where you bring out your first rank 4. At this point it would be Levavel Chain. Always detach this to the Archfiend. When you're using your ranks, you always want to detach the Archfiend or a Stygian, depending on the situation. Right now in this situation, I want the Archfiend in the grave, because this guy is going to come onto the field and he's going to special an Archfiend out of the grave. So you detach your Archfiend. Grepher doesn't do anything in the graveyard, so that's fairly self-explanatory. Now your Levavel Chain is going to send your Stygian, if I can find it. So Stygian is now in the grave. You banish him to special summon out your Necromancer from your hand. Necromancer will use his effect to special summon an Infernity monster from the graveyard. In this case, Infernity Archfiend. Infernity Archfiend will go for the Infernity Launcher. This is where you use the field spell. So this is how this works. You target him, you banish another fiend. You special summon an Archfiend equal to the level of this targeted monster. In other words, another Archfiend. You're going to search out the Necromancer, I believe. No, actually, you're going to search out the Archfiend. Sorry, you know, even experienced Infernity players like sometimes have to sit and think about their combos. So he's special summoned. You search another Archfiend to your hand. You will discard this into the graveyard with Infernity Launcher. Now you go for your second Levavel Chain. Your Levavel Chain will be somewhere here next to your Fire Fist stuff, and you will use the Levavel Chain effect. At this point you would send the Necromancer. I'm going to talk a little bit about the launcher for you guys, because okay, so the way Launcher works is it special summons 2 Infernity monsters from your graveyard. Now, a couple of ruling issues. If you special summon 2 Archfiends out of the graveyard, you're only going to get 1 search, because this Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2, Chain Link 2 resolves, you add a card to your hand. This guy resolves, but it fizzles because you now have a card in your hand searched from Chain Link 2. So when you use Launcher on 2 Infernity monsters, if you summon 2 Archfiends, you're only going to get the 1 search. Don't let anyone cheat you, because Infernity players are cheaters in general. So this is the perfect grave setup for Launcher. 1 Necromancer and 2 Archfiends. Now you're going to launch 1 Archfiend and 1 Necromancer. This is because you now have a fresh Necromancer on the field. So this goes to the graveyard. So the way this works, you activate it and you send it. One of the worst things that can happen to you is someone MSTs your Launcher, and that's really bad. So yeah, now you get the Archfiend search. You would search the barrier. Yes, you would search barrier. Search your barrier. Now your Necromancer activates, special summoning your other Archfiend from the graveyard. So that's, if I can I'm trying to get everything in the shot here. And the Archfiend will search your Infernity break. So yeah. Now, I don't claim to be the best Infernity player. It is possible to do more. And I'm saying it might be possible to do more with that hand. But as you can see, from a hand of just... where is he? Okay, so we started off with these 3 cards. These 3 cards finished us off on a field of almost 1, 2, 3, 4... yeah, like plus fucking 7 or something, right? I don't know. So this field is a 3-card combo. So all you need is Dark Grepher, Archfiend, and a Stygian in your hand, and you can finish off with a field like this. So 3 cards, you would draw obviously your other 3, that could potentially be other back row. Other monsters would have obviously ruined the combo. But yeah, so this is combo number 1, and this is your Dark Grepher, Stygian, and Archfiend combo. Yeah, so, but again, like I said, when you're playing Infernity, you never say to yourself like, okay, I'm going to do combo 1 or I'm going to do combo 3 or something. You just go with what you have at the time. Right now I'm just showing you like straight, like I'm stacking my hand just to like show you like what you can do. But after like a couple more combos, I'm going to show you what just like random test hands. So this is combo 1 for this video. Feel free to practice it, see how it works out. The more you play, the more you fishbowl, the more you start to see the combos very easily. Biggest tip I can give is Lavalval Chain will more often than not send Stygian, and Archfiend will more often than not search the Necromancer. So pretty good from a 3-card field, 3-card combo. So let's move on to another combo. So the other combo I wanted to show you guys is Summoner Monk and 1 random spell. You can go Soul Plus just from 2 cards in Infernity, and this is essentially obviously taking an ideal situation where you only have these cards in your hand. Upstart is usually the best monk target, and yeah, so I'll just show you it. Summoner Monk summoned. His effect is when he's normal summoned, he gets switched to defense. Now you use his effect to pitch a spell card to special summon an Archfiend. So you can pitch any spell card you have in your hand, like Reinforcement in the Army, Foolish Burial, whatever you have. So this is obviously taking in an ideal situation. When Archfiend is special summoned, he will search an Infernity card. So you will go for another Archfiend. Now we will overlay into Lavalval Chain. Lavalval Chain will use his effect to send a Stygian to the graveyard. we're going to banish the Stygian from our graveyard to special summon Archfiend. Archfiend is going to search Launcher. Launcher will use its effect to send itself to graveyard to special summon our Infernity monsters from the graveyard, in this case only one Archfiend. This will special summon, this will add Necromancer to our hand. Now you will overlay for the Lavalval Chain effect to send Stygian to the graveyard. Stygian will banish itself from the graveyard to special summon Necromancer from our hand. Necromancer will what have I done here? Where is my other Archfiend? Oh yeah, he's in the graveyard, but I threw him into my extra deck. So Necromancer will use the effect to special summon Archfiend, and Archfiend will search out the barrier. So you have a 2-card combo here. All you've used is Lavalval Chain. All you've used is Monk, and you've finished on 2 rank 4s, 2 monsters, and a barrier. So you've gone +3, which isn't too bad. So that's only a 2-card combo. So the way you could have done this differently was, instead of searching Archfiend with Archfiend, you could have searched Necromancer, but I don't believe that would have left you in any more of a good position than right now. Depending on your situation, you might want to search Break because it is live, because you can banish your Launcher from the graveyard. But like most times, you're gonna search Barrier because it's Barrier, and Barrier's pretty broken. So yeah, that's a 2-card combo, and yeah. So for one of the last combos, I'm still going to do a couple more of the set combos. For this one, you need Monk, Random Spell, and Transmodify. These are key, but the Upstart is irrelevant. You can have Book of Moon or whatever random spell at the time, but this is a 3-card combo consisting of Transmodify. This is what I consider one of the best combos in the game, and yeah, so I'll just show you how it goes. So you would set these two, keep the Upstart in your hand, but set the Transmodify because you need no cards in your hand to resolve Archfiend. Normal summon Monk, it's sent to defense. Uses effect, pitch a spell card, special summon Archfiend. Archfiend will use his effect to search Necromancer into your hand. Overlay for Lavalval Chain. Lavalval Chain uses effect, detach the Archfiend and send Stygian. Stygian will banish itself from the graveyard, special summon Necromancer. Necromancer uses effect, special summon Archfiend. Archfiend will use effect to search, and you will activate the Launcher. Now you will use Transmodify on your Necromancer to special summon Archfiend out of your deck. Archfiend will use his effect to search Archfiend, and you will discard it with the Launcher. You will overlay into your second Lavalval Chain. You will detach the Lavalval Chain to send Archfiend Heiress. Heiress will search the field spell, Palabyrinth. You will activate Palabyrinth, and you shall send the Launcher away. You will special summon Archfiend and 1 Necromancer. Archfiend will search your barrier. So this is your first back row. Hurrah. And now this is where things get cloggy. Just make it as tight as possible. Now you use your Necromancer's effect to special summon your Archfiend out of the grave. Archfiend will search a Break. This is where you use the field spell now. The field spell will target Archfiend, banish Necromancer, special summon Archfiend. Whoops, I'm a liar. You can't do that because of your other Archfiend is underneath your Lavalval Chain. But yeah, this is another 3-card combo. And obviously, like, depending on like other cards in your hand, you could potentially do more. Like if you opened Launcher, you wouldn't need to like search these. But as you can see, you're pretty sorted. You've gone like, this is just 3 cards, and you've got the field spell, so your Archfiends are absolutely huge. This is an OTK right here, 23, 36, 23, cowboy for game. You've got your protection with your barrier and your break. So this is pretty cool just for 3-card combo. Obviously, like, you might have other cards in your hand that would change it up. I'll do some test hands later to essentially like mix up a little bit, see what we can get. But the reason this goes so plus is because of your transmodify. This combo could have gone a little bit differently if we use double Livier. I personally don't use double Livier. I would like to show the combo, however I personally do not own a second Livier. But yeah, so this is just like this is also like a pretty good combo. As you can see, you have gone +5 from just 3 cards, which is really not too bad. So one last set combo. So just for a little bit of like something new and fresh, this is a Soul Charge combo using only Armageddon Knight and Soul Charge. So this is another 2-card combo. When you're running 3 of this and this in a rota, it's kind of not too hard to get. You will find yourself opening it occasionally. So, but obviously, like, don't rely on these set combos. I'm just like, this is just to show you sort of the flow and general like mindset you should have when playing it. Well, anyway, so let's go. You would normal summon this guy, and you would send Infernity Archfiend to the graveyard. You will use your Soul Charge for 1 to special Archfiend out of the grave. Archfiend will search for a launcher. You're probably thinking, why not go for Necromancer? Because with Necromancer, all you're going to do is finish with the Lava Chain, answer Archfiend, and a barrier or something. Yeah, that was one. But right now, you would go for your Lava Chain, detaching the Archfiend, sending another Archfiend, and you would send the launcher. You would special summon 2 Archfiends out of the grave, and you would use one of their effects to search Necromancer. Like I said before, when you launch 2 Archfiends, you get 1 search. So now you go for your second Lava Chain. Use the effect to detach for a send a Stygian, and Stygian will banish itself to special summon Necromancer. Necromancer will special summon Archfiend from your graveyard, and Archfiend will search the barrier. So that is +3 from 2 cards, Soul Charge and Armageddon Knight. This deck can obviously do much crazier combos, but you know, we're just trying to demonstrate just the basics with a couple of like the most simplest cards. So yeah, that is a 2-card combo. So right now we've got some test hands. I have shuffled my deck. I will continue to shuffle as I speak, so you know I am not cheating and stacking my hand. So this is essentially to show you just how consistent or inconsistent this deck can be. Sort of live, you can see like how random my hands can be, and how good they can be. So I'll do a couple test hands just to show you like how good and how sometimes this deck can be really awful. So we draw 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, draw for turn. So we want to try get one more monster into our hand to use Dark Grepher's effect. So we'll use Upstart. Now we've got pretty good hand here. So very easy to always set your spells. Leave these here because it's your hand. So you normal summon Grepher. Grepher effect to pitch the Archfiend. Grepher effect to send Stygian to the graveyard. Stygian effect to special summon Necromancer from your hand. Necromancer effect to special summon Archfiend. Archfiend effect to search Launcher. Transmodify on your Necromancer. Special summon your Archfiend. Archfiend effect to search your Archfiend. Archfiend discard through Launcher. So I can already see that our Instant Fusion is going to be sitting there doing nada for most of this. Your Lavalval chain now, detaching the Archfiend as always. Lavalval chain will send Eris to the graveyard. If you can find her. Yeah. So Eris goes to the graveyard, just searching your field spell. You will activate the field spell. For some space. Activating Launcher. Launcher will special Archfiend and Necromancer. Archfiend will search for a barrier. And Necromancer will special summon Archfiend from the grave. Archfiend will, at this point, you can either would you direwolf? No, you wouldn't direwolf. Sometimes you might find yourself direwolfing your own monsters just to make space. But Archfiend will search the break. This is where I would go for Keybeetle. Right here. Keybeetle effect on the barrier. So you now have a protected barrier. Palabyrinth effect to banish Necromancer. And special summon special summon Archfiend from your graveyard. The cool thing about Palabyrinth is it special summons Archfiend from anywhere, your deck and graveyard. And the final Archfiend effect to search our last break. At this point it is GG, no re. So as we can see from just our test hand, we drew one. We were lucky to draw the first break, and essentially what put in the work for us there was the Transmodify. The Transmodify made this into essentially an unbeatable hand. So yeah, this is pretty crazy. I'm just shuffling my hand here. Next turn we would have an MST. But yeah, this is test hand number 1, and not bad. You are not going to open that good every time, but you know, it happens, and a lot of the time your opponent will just be looking at you like they want to kill you. So yeah, I think we could have done more in terms of monsters. However, I don't think there was enough space. I would have tried it, but you know, this is just like whatever, you know. But yeah, so that's test hand number 1. So I just get the power shuffling because I believe my phone is out of battery soon. But yeah, I'll just shuffle it a bit in front of your eyes so you can see that I'm definitely not stacking. So test hand number 1 was really good. You are definitely not going to open that good every time. But yeah, let's see what else we can get here. 2 more shuffles. 1, 2, 3. Why not? 1 for good luck. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this, as you can see, the reason why I'm going to cut her. I just get very unlucky with drawing her. So as I can see already that this hand is only good because of Transmodify. I did say I was going to cut this, but you know, Transmodify is very, very, very mediocre outside of turn 1. But anyway, let's see where this can take us. So you're going to set 3. You just, how Infernity works, you always set 3. Set your hand. This is your hand here. You're going to use Dark Grapher's effect to discard the Eris. Because Eris is being sent as a cost, you do not get her effect. So do not even think about trying to search the Palabyrinth, which I know some of you will do, because you're cheaters. Dark Grapher will send a Stygian to the graveyard. Special summoning the Necromancer from our hand by banishing the Stygian. Yeah, don't know why I was going to search there. now you will transmodify your Stygian into Archfiend. Archfiend shall be searching your launcher, which you will activate and overlay into level chain number 1, detaching the Necromancer and detaching the Archfiend and sending an Archfiend, because your perfect launcher target is always 2 Archfiends and a Necromancer. It means your graveyard is absolutely fantastic and you cannot get better than that. So you launch your Archfiend and Necromancer. Archfiend number 1 will search your barrier. Actually, we've already got it set, so pretty lucky to open that. Yeah, so Archfiend search barrier, Necromancer, special Archfiend search Necromancer. Necromancer to hand, overlaying our other Archfiends into the level chain, detaching, sending Stygian. Then of course Stygian uses effect, special Necromancer from the hand. Banish Stygian from grave, special summon Necromancer. Necromancer effect to special Archfiend from the grave. Searching Archfiend. Final Archfiend. The direction I'm taking this combo in is a key beat lock on barrier, because barrier is very easy to MST, so you need to give it as much protection as you can. So now you will go into Levier. Where did I put it? Here, Levier. Where are you? There you are. Levier. Levier will bring back a one of 2 Stygians. And now you go into your Key Beetle. Key Beetle shall protect your barrier, and you will special the Archfiend out of your hand by banishing the Stygian from your graveyard. And the Archfiend will search your final search, your break. So, yeah, that hand was pretty lucky because of Transmodify. But, yeah, so we have finished on pretty good hand. We have a Key Beetle lock on our barrier, and we have a very, very good field presence. There is one issue here. That is, you will find yourself clogging your field sometimes. Now you have 5 monsters here. If you draw a monster, you are in big trouble, because it means you can't use your breaks and barriers. So we have shuffled this, and we will see it's upstart. So you do not want to draw a monster. So next turn you will set this and not use it, because that would draw you Vanity's Emptiness, which is actually pretty cool. Trapstone, yeah. So you deck thin a lot, but sometimes you will draw into this guy when you have a field of 5, so that's not good. But yeah, so that's test hand number 2. That was pretty decent, definitely like up there with the spectacular combos of today. So not bad. And we're going to do one more, well, maybe 2 more test hands.